Part 2 of all the men who have rejected me on Raya. Starting off strong, we have the guy from The Office. Ryan, I don't know what his real name is. Bryce Stein. Mike Posner, whatever, you get it. Trevor Noah. Julian Edelman. Charlie frickin' Puth. Dude, once again, I can make so many of these. So comment for part 3 if you want it.
I drove my friend 3 hours away to meet her online crush, and he rejected her SMH.
This is how you do not plan a freaking date. You are gonna get rejected. I am here gonna show you with receipts. I pulled this one from the archive. Let's get into it. I had been on one date with this man, and I got right in that group chat after the first date telling the girlies, I think this guy is great. I had such a nice time with him. We had so much fun. We had a lot in common. I could not wait to go on a second date with him. A week or so later, he finally texts me and is like, hey, are you free Sunday for brunch? I'm like, yeah, great. That Saturday night, he sends me this text, are you still up for brunch? Yes, I'm still up for brunch. You're saying that 5 p.m. on Saturday, brunch assumingly would be Sunday, noon, 1. Yeah, what are you thinking? I could come your way if you know a good spot. Okay, let me do the heavy lifting for you, buddy. So I give him a list of these places and I add, not sure if any take a res, meaning, hey buddy, I'm giving you 3 options of places I'd like to go, but you are gonna have to do the footwork to determine whether or not they even require reservations. A lot of brunch places don't, or what the deal is. He says, oh, the Dutch eye. Not even sure what that means. Like, oh, is that a plan? No. So then that morning I get a text from him, howdy, how does 2 sound? I never heard back from him the night before, so what do I say? Oh, when I didn't hear back last night about a reservation or anything concrete, I made plans for this afternoon. You cannot, for a second date, try and make plans the morning of. Even less than 24 hours. Like, your girl is busy. We are not sitting around waiting for you to reach out. Goodbye. And so what is his response? Okay, cool. He, I think, got the point. But either way, I was like, this has to be like one of the laziest attempts at putting a second date together. Like, bro, second date, what are you doing? You missed out is what happened. Sorry.
Crush on this really cute guy and I'm going live with him right now, but he doesn't know he's my crush. So if I twirl my hair, that means it's him. If I go like this, that's not the guy I'm talking about. Totally different co-host. So if you see me twirl my hair, go to his chat and ask him if he likes me back. Tell him to throw a peace sign if he likes me back, and tell him to put his thumb down if he doesn't like me back. Either way, I'm single, so I don't care if he likes me back, but I would obviously like him to like me back. But if there's other people who like me back, maybe I like you too, and that's why you should watch me and raise me up in my chat. I'm 33. I'm single. If I could date a guy, he'd have to be between ages 25 and 45, taller than 5'10". Vegan, independent, has his own place, and isn't, like, I need an introvert. I can't do social groups, so yeah. Click the big circle, I'm going live. But don't tell him about my live signals.
The reason women are getting rejected when they're online dating is because of their photos. Ladies, if you are posting photos from 20 years ago, if you're posting photos with filters on them, if you're posting photos when you weighed 100 pounds less, stop. You're setting yourself up for rejection. You want someone that's going to want you for you and how you look right now. So just keep it real. There's no need for you to post pictures that don't look like you right now.
Okay, I matched with this guy on Bumble. It's literally been, 2-3 days of having the apps again, and I'm already over it. This guy and I matched on Bumble and we're talking. The conversation was good. He asked for my number and then he's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to be out of town this weekend. And I said, that's fine. We can do something next week. So he was texting me and he was in DC this weekend. We're texting back and forth a little bit here and there. And then it was Saturday night and his text started getting a little sloppy. And I was like, uh-oh. And he had asked for my Instagram earlier, so I get an Instagram message. And it's just, Colette. And I'm like, what's up? You need to be asleep. I sent a bunch of question marks, or 2 question marks, and said, why is that? Because you're a baby. Another message. LaMayo. Another message. A youth. Another message. The next generation. Another message. Class of 2024. I sent back a question mark and I said, not loving this. LOL. LaMayo. Spelled it wrong. I'm being silly, Colette. I said, I don't like it. He sent back LaMayo. And I just sent a meme of yikes. So yeah, did not love that. Super just immature, sloppy. We haven't even met up yet. It was a really bad first impression. So at this point I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not meeting up with this guy. I think he's maybe a little too, I don't know. I can't meet up with him after that. It was too much. So the next day he texts me and he just goes, how's your weekend been? And I was like, LOL, someone got a little too turnt last night. And he sends crying faces and then the Colette. I don't know why he keeps doing it, pissing me off at this point. And I said, those were some interesting DMs with like a side eye and face. He goes, LaMayo, my dearest, that wasn't even spicy for me. And I said, super condescending, I said, my dearest, those messages were super immature. I'm not interested in going out, but I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in DC. He goes, you mean my Instagram banter? It seems that my messages somehow ruffled some feathers. I go, haha, if that's what you want to call it, you just seemed a little immature for what I'm looking for, to be honest. I wish you the best. His response is insane. Paragraphs. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to make a part 2 because it is, I can't.
Well, I just got rejected by a guy, and this is the second time it's happened this year. You guys know that I'm looking for a man to spoil rotten, okay? And just let me know, be honest, if I overdid it a little too much. I cooked for him every single night, and if he didn't like the meal, I would make him something different. I bought him his favorite Lego sets because he felt bad buying them for himself because they're so expensive. I was a giver in every aspect of our relationship. I created Spotify playlists of his favorite songs. I scratched his head and back and cuddled him. I was the big spoon. Every single night he came over to my house. I would send him cute messages every single morning telling him how much I appreciated him and how attractive he was to me. All for him to tell me that I was a little too much in suffocating him and really not his physical type, but he was really glad that he gave it a go. My therapist is gonna have a field day with this one. So yeah, I'm back on the market, so who wants to break my heart next?
Why do men reject women? Some men had relationships where they did everything, the woman did nothing. He gave his all, she took it all. He built her up, she broke him down. So you think he gonna trust another woman? He might date her, but he not gonna give nothing so fast. He gonna take his time to give her something. He wants her to do everything first so she can earn his trust. And some men, they have a mama that talk to them or love them. Mama put everybody before him. So he gonna put himself before a woman every time. Because he knows how it feel to be left out with nothing. No help, doing everything for himself, no family, no friends. He don't want to lose anything else because of a woman. So if you're a good woman, you got to work extremely hard so that man can help you. Because if you ask for something first, your feelings going to get hurt. And you're going to be the one doing everything by yourself. He ain't trying to go broke no more or lose himself again.
Why is it that so many young men are now completely done with social media, dating apps, and they're saying bizarre and weird things, such as they're done with all women, they're no longer trying to find their ever person, and then they just don't care at all? Well, I think we can all agree that social media dating apps are completely trash. That is a very valid statement to make. However, for us boys, it gets kind of tragic because a survey has now been done and it turns out that on average, a man of average attractiveness will have to swipe right 200 times before he gets a match. And out of those matches, 4 out of 5 will then ghost him. So for a man to actually go out for a coffee, take a girl on a date, maybe buy her lunch, he will have to swipe on average 1,000 times before he finds a girl that is willing to go out for a coffee, go on a date with him. A man of average attractiveness. This is just tragic. I understand wanting to turn your back on social media dating apps. Get off them. But don't say silly things like I'm done with all women or I don't want to find my forever person. Being in a relationship, being in love with your special somebody is one of the most beautiful feelings somebody could ever ask for. But you should go out. Try the old-fashioned way. Maybe meet a girl at a bar. Maybe you're just walking through the park, sit down next to a bench to somebody who's reading a book. Spark up a conversation. Don't say silly things like you're done with all women. Don't give up hope. Us boys, we are amazing. Women genuinely love us. Don't spend too much time on social media where you hear silly things like toxic masculinity and all men are trash, because it's complete tosh. You know you're amazing, you know you're worth it, so why don't you back yourself? Show yourself the support that you show everybody else in your life, and you'll see things turn around, and you will no longer have to swipe roughly 1,000 times to get a coffee. No, you'll just have to go up to random women, sit down next to them, and spark up a conversation. And trust me, having the confidence to do that, that is enough to secure yourself a date with a woman. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fabulous day! And as you were.
So are you mad that you found a guy that you were attracted to and wanted to do content with, so you reached out to him to try to do content, but he rejected? Yes, that is the whole point of the post, obviously. It reminds me of in high school, because I do get rejected a lot. I don't know if it's my height. I don't know if it's because I look like a man. I don't know if it's because I'm too skinny or something, but like it reminded me of in high school when I really, really liked this guy, and he told me that my arms were too hairy for him. So I went home and shaved my arms, and this is one of my good friends. He was a good friend, even if he wasn't a boyfriend. And he still rejected me, so I always think there's something wrong with me. So yes, I get rejected all the time.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Let me tell you something. I like you.
Wait, what?
I
No,
like
no, you can't let me.
Why?
Nah, you like my niece. No, open the door. Bro. Open the door, bro.
Why?
You like my niece, Nanny?
I like you though.
Nah. You like my niece. I can't. No. Open the door. I don't want to touch you. Open the door.
Okay, but you don't have to say nothing about it.
I'm not gonna say nothing, but open the door. You can't let me. You
Why?
like my niece. You like London and Scarlett. Nah. Nanny. Nah. No. Open the door. Nah, Nanny. You gotta open the door. If you don't, open the door.
No.
Ocean. I can't. No.
But we're not blood.
And then you close the door? Nah. But even that, you're 12, Nanny.
But you're saying from you're not.
No, but you're 12. I'm 19. You're 12. You're a kid. I can't. Open the door.
I'm not opening the door. Don't.
Nanny, you're young. What old are you?
12.
How old am I? 19, right? That's a big gap. No.
Guys get friend-zoned, but girls get fuck-zoned. A boy stops talking to us suddenly after he gets a girlfriend, or starts ghosting us after we reject his first move. A friendship that we valued, we thought mattered, if only just a little to him, turned out not to matter at all. But in the end, we're the bad guys. We're the ones who lead the good guys on. Of course, we should just expect that's what you always want. We should just expect that friendship is never as valuable as a twist of our hand. They got friend-zoned. They only lost another girl, another rejection. But we lost a friend, someone we thought was worth more. We lost a friend.
asked a bunch of girls, when was the last time a man approached you at a bar and started talking to you?
Okay.
And I thought this was just a new thing, but they were all like, no, it hasn't happened in, I can't even tell you how long, like before COVID.
Dang.
And I thought that was a me experience. I was like, okay, maybe I give off like a standoffish vibe. I don't know. I don't think so. But no, they all agreed. They're like, I can't tell you the last time a man tried to talk to me at a bar.
Okay, look, well, I'll help you out. I'll tell you why. A lot of men, you got to think about it. Look on the internet. All women do is get on here and bash men every day. It's like women, like, when they go to bed at night, they like, oh, I can't wait to get up in the morning to bash men. So after months and months and months and years of just bashing, men is like, you know what? We ain't got to put up with this. We just gonna go watch the game in peace and laugh and joke with our friends, and we just gonna do that and don't have to worry about nothing. Think about it. Women were literally saying that they rather be in the woods with bears than human men. What do, like, I don't know. Sometimes I be like, do y'all think that when y'all say something like that, men gonna be like, oh no, we gotta do whatever they say? No. It's just gonna be like, you know what? Okay, that's what they wanna do. Fine. We just let them learn the hard way, and we're gonna do what we do, and let's see how it turn out. Because honestly, men are happy by themselves. Like, if we just being honest. So, I mean, I guess you could say y'all need men before men need women. I don't know. Y'all figure it out.
Is there any way I could get your number?
I'm sorry, it's gonna be enough for me.
I don't want to start a debate, and I know there's extreme cases from both sides. Rejection sucks. It just does. But has anyone observed the difference in a rejected man versus a rejected woman in the dating world? Because it feels like my observation here is that men, although we take it personally sometimes, can typically shake it off pretty quickly and move along. Whereas when a woman is rejected in a dating scenario, and I love when women take initiative, I don't think enough do that, but when a woman is rejected, she takes it personally and then it festers. And all of a sudden it becomes all about her, and she creates this villain arc and she's better and all this kind of stuff. But has anyone else noticed that difference? I'm just really curious.
Why are Gen Z men saying fuck off to feminism? Yesterday, BBC News shared an article that showed the widening gap between Gen Z men and Gen Z women, with a particular trend showing that Gen Z women are becoming more progressive and Gen Z men are becoming more conservative. Now, this is nothing new. It was shown that this was happening in America before, and it's happening across the West. And for me, it's incredibly fucking obvious why this is happening. Because feminism and the left in the present day do absolutely nothing to support men. They do the opposite. They demonise, they stigmatise, and they ignore their problems. Why would young men be drawn to an ideology that on the surface at least comes across like it hates men for being men? And that is not what feminism is meant to be about. In theory, according to some definitions, it is meant to be about gender equality. But all you need to do is chat to the average feminist or see the average feminist influencer on social media, point out some of the inequalities that men face, such as in the education system, such as in mental health care, and such as how the economy is changing today with the decline of traditional jobs. Do they care? No, absolutely not. But what will they do? They will blame men for it. They will say it is the fault of men themselves. It's the patriarchy. Men have built this system, therefore it's their fault. But when it comes to women's inequality, it's a systemic problem, which is weird, because when it's men's issues, it's them that's the problem. It comes from inside. But for women, everything else is outside. Again, it's men's fault. And the reason they do this most of the time is because they're fucking ignoramuses. They haven't done their research. They haven't looked at the data. They haven't seen that inequality exists for both men and women and that it's desirable to address both of them. And they also haven't done the own self-reflection to see that the stance they're taking of pointing the finger at men and blaming them rather than trying to address the problems is a reflection of their own ego and refusal to accept changing information. And the problem with this is it's created an enormous vacuum where you have a lack of male support on the left. So it's all come from the right, who are not much better either. It's just led the way for this very fixed traditional idea of masculinity, where if you don't conform to it, you're seen as a beta male or a soy boy. But the left are in complete denial about how they're aiding this side of the right, and they will say something like what I'm saying now as a more neutral observational stance. is akin to that. They will say that anybody who dares to criticise feminist ideology or woke ideology must be a Tate-supporting right-winger. And people can see through that bullshit. They're sick of it. And guess who most of the people are that are sick of this? The young men, the ones who are being told by those people that they're the bad ones. So what does feminism need to do? Start fucking listening to the problems that men are facing and stop pretending that they don't exist, because inequality can exist for both sexes. Check out leading male inequality experts like Richard Reeves. Check out the American Institute for Boys and Men. Check out the all-party political group for boys and men. Start looking into the crisis of masculinity. You can read a fantastic article by a feminist author called Christine Ember in the New York Times discussing the problems that men are facing. Because when more feminists start taking male inequality seriously too, because it is not beneficial to society as a whole, then we will have less of this divide. Men are not collectively bad as an entire gender, but I'll tell you who are collectively bad: people who believe that they are. And what will those people often identify themselves as? The word begins with an F.
Why men don't approach women anymore. So historically, women have always waited for men to make the first move. Is he gonna go in for the kiss? Is he gonna hold my hand? But now, whenever I talk to my friends about their dating history, all I hear them talking about is, oh, he hasn't made a move, he's not doing anything, we're not moving forward. So on the flip side of this normally ends up in men feeling like they're getting ghosted, or that there's just being told there's no spark. And from what I'm hearing from a lot of my clients, it's not because that you're not attracted to her. It's more about fearing that you're either going to get rejected, maybe you're going to get turned down, you know, slapped in the face when you go for that first move, or even worse, like getting in trouble with the law. So you need to ask yourself, does this sound like you? The truth is, you probably missed that golden opportunity to create that spark. And she likely was giving you signals that you just didn't quite catch.
You look like my future boyfriend.
No, I don't. I can't lie to you.
Why?
You're not really my type.
Oh.
Good though. No, yeah, you look good. What's your name?
Danny.
Danny, nice to meet you, Suhail.
Well, you're putting me through hell, so after that rejection.
Nah, I didn't mean like I'm trying to be like.
That's okay. No, you are being
know
respectful.
I mean?
I'm just sad, but you know, it's okay.
Nah, yeah, you're good. You know, we'll both move on and probably forget about this
interaction. This was a very
But
polite rejection, and I appreciate it, honestly.
You want my Instagram? I'll give
Well,
you my
no,
Instagram.
if we don't want each other, that's totally fine. We can part ways here and, you know, air kiss each other goodbye and call it a day.
It's all good. You'll be good.
Thank you.
You're pretty enough to find someone.
Thank you.
Know what I mean? Yeah.
You have a good heart.
Nah, yeah, I appreciate
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Another rejection story, and no, I am not excited to share this one, and I might cry because I was so excited about this guy. Let's get into it. This was a fourth date with a great guy, and not just like dinner. This was literally like a 15-hour date, preceded by a third date that was about 10 to 15 hours. So we had been spending a lot of time together. Communication was on point. We had talked about making future plans of like, let's go on this trip, let's go to this concert, whatever. During the date, I started to feel a cold sore coming on. And I said several times on the date, I think I'm getting a cold sore. Not thinking I had to explain what a cold sore was. I thought the general public, because 90% of people get cold sores, I didn't need to explain what it was. Later that night, we were talking about it more, and I clarified because he didn't understand what a cold sore was. So I explained where it comes from, how it's very common, what category of viral diseases, I should say, that it's in, which is the herpes virus. Definitely, I could tell was freaking him out, and there was a lot of tension. He texted me this, he can't get past the cold sore situation, and that he wishes I had mentioned it earlier, which I explained to him. I didn't mention it earlier because it's a non-issue for most of my life, but I don't know if maybe he heard the word herpes and got scared because that's a big, scary word. But also, to be unforgiving about one flaw in somebody is a giant red flag to me. I just really think like we need to destigmatize cold sores just because they're in the herpes category. It's no different than getting chicken pox, shingles, all of those things. It's just wild that people are uneducated about this and unforgiving about it when it's Literally not the biggest deal in the entire world.
This may sound harsh, but I don't think that man needed to be any more educated or understanding. Because that man is absolutely allowed to not want to continue the relationship because he's uncomfortable. It's a deal breaker to him. And it is completely reasonable that this is not an issue that he's run into before, because the stats are actually more so around a little over half of people have cold sores. And I get that it's disappointing, but that is the difference that I see between men and women when it comes to failed dating relationships. It's that women will find a reason why the man's reason for ending the relationship is not right? Like she will shame him for it. Whereas men will say, okay, I get it. And they just move on.
We need to go back to men moving to girls in real life. When you're moving to a girl on the street, it's off the dome. You have to flow with it. And then obviously she might hit you with a spanner and you have to, you gotta think on your feet, baby. Now you get to sit down and think, oh, what should I say? You can't even ask for advice. Bro, how do I chat to this girl? So in terms of that on your feet game, niggas ain't got it like that, yo. They ain't got the flavor like that, yo.
And also, you have to remember, when it's online, you can start speaking to a girl at 6 o'clock, take a break, go somewhere else. When you're talking to a girl on the street, you ain't got that.
You're a door salesman.
It's there and then.
Show me what you got. Sell me this pen. Sell me this pen. You got 5 minutes. My boss is in 5 minutes. Sell me this pen. You had to perform. Nowadays, it's like, okay, cool. I will text her back in 2 hours. Then you'll now do 2-hour reply. Then she'll do 4-hour reply. A guy hasn't made me giggle in 5 minutes in a while. You know, there was back in the day when you talk to someone and be like, like within 5 minutes, like, you went from sorry, I got a man to, it's not like that anymore. The game has changed. The game is rigged.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore or don't care to put in effort. And a relationship won't work unless the guy likes the girl just a tiny little bit more. He has to like her just the tiniest bit more for it to work in the long haul. So it would make sense if a guy really wanted to get to know you, that he would go leaps and bounds to get to know you. And when did that shift? Because back in my mom's era, if a guy wanted to take you out on a date, he had to go up to you, he had to get your number, he had to go through lengths to try to talk to you, even if you weren't interested at first. How my parents met? They met at a bar, and my dad asked for my mom to dance, and my mom was like, get out of here. She wanted nothing to do with him. If he had just left and listened to her, they would have never gotten married, they would have never had kids. But he was persistent. He wanted to take her out on a date so badly. He was like, what do I have to do to take you out on a date? She was working late their first date, so he went to her work, picked her up, prepped a dinner, took her to a park, just planned the whole thing. He wrote her poetry. He was yearning. How my aunt and my uncle met. My aunt was a dancer on a cruise ship, and he was the photographer. And he was persistent. She overheard him one night saying to his buddy, he was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. He had just met her. And now they're married, and they have 2 kids together. I don't hear anything like that now. Now we're praising eye contact. Now we're praising if a guy held a door open to us and smiled. That is what we're praising. It feels so backwards. I just wonder when it shifted, because I feel like that is the whole downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone now, because men just don't care anymore.
But why don't you want to connect with, the same age bracket? Like some women want to.
And so this is an interesting thing, right? So dating, one of the things that I've struggled with, because I would rather date someone over 30, right? I'm 39, rather than be over 30. Would rather a bit younger than me, but rather close, because I want to be same maturity level, same life experience. But I've had this experience of just coming across... the dynamic is often different. It's like you get these exceptions, right? But on the whole, it's a really different dynamic. Like when I talk to guys and they're like, oh, I don't want to date women in the 30s, I actually get it. It's not that there's anything wrong with all women in the 30s, but it's really, really common to have these really like baggage-based experiences that they bring to. I don't mean like physical baggage, right? I mean like emotional baggage that they bring to the table. And it's like, ooh, and then it's like, I'm suffering as a result because I'm going on these dates and I'm like, they've got like a checklist of things they need to check off on their list. Has he got this? Has he got, oh, you better not have this characteristic. But it's like, it's really not fun. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be, and so I get it. Like I'd rather date someone close, but I'm not having fun on these dates. It's this interesting, weird thing.
As a former bouncer that spent over 10 years working in nightclubs, it became my obsession watching the little things that guys would do to try to get laid. I've seen some shit. And let me tell you the big difference between guys who take girls home every night and the guys who leave empty-handed. Men who are unsuccessful with women tend to do this one thing where they'll see a girl across the club. She's beautiful. They're like their exact type. And what they'll do is they will focus all their attention on her and build her up in their heads to be something that she probably isn't, let's be honest. And the problem with that is by the time they work up the courage to go talk to her, if they do work up the courage to talk to her, they've built her up to be this thing that's like way out of their league. When you do that, the dynamic is off. The energy is off. She can sense that you're coming in really, really needy. If you're one of these guys who has a tendency to sort of put women on a pedestal, especially just because of the way that they look, the first thing that I'm going to tell you is you need to focus on yourself. Set goals, go to the gym, all that good stuff. Now, the reason why a lot of you won't do this is because your hormones are fucked. If you're a man in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and you're having a hard time self-actualizing, what you want to look at is whether you're magnesium deficient. Because without magnesium, you're not going to produce the male hormones that your body needs. So what do? You can take something like this. It's got zinc, magnesium, Fedoja, Tonkat Alley, Maca, and a whole bunch of other things that when you start taking this, you're going to notice a dramatic improvement in your life. Within the first few weeks, you're going to start sleeping again. And I'm talking deep sleeps where you have the most vivid dreams. When you wake up, your soldier's going to be standing at attention. You're also going to notice that you're going to have an increase in your libido. So if you have a girl, if you have a wife, she's going to be wondering what the hell happened. And then the last, and I think probably like the most important thing that this will do for you, is give you the ability to focus and concentrate on things that you've probably been putting off for weeks or even months. It's when you start knocking out your goals and becoming this better version of yourself that no matter what environment you're in, when you meet someone new, even if they're a little bit intimidating, you're not going to do that thing where you put them up above you. This is what makes you attractive. This is why certain guys pull at the club and others don't.